This is Secret America with your hosts, Jack Danger and James Clary.
Welcome, everybody. I am Jack Danger, and my guest co-host Jay Gatling, you better know as Opinions Vary, a very popular person on X and on other platforms. Jay, how you doing today, man?
I'm awesome, Jack. Great to be here. Appreciate you having me, man. Well, I'm really excited.
Hey, the pleasure is all mine. We've had some live conversations before. They've gone really well. We have a really good rapport, a lot of chemistry, so it's going to work out well. But before we start the show, we have a very special, I mean, it's hard to say guest. It's weird to say guest at this point, but we have a very special guest for you, still co-host at the moment until he says farewell, but that's what this is about. We want him to come in. He wanted to come in, and I think that's really great. We're going to bring in James Clary right now. You know the beloved James Clary. How you doing, James?
What's going on, fellas?
James.
Man, yeah, it is great to see you, man. It's great to see you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, totally. I wanted to come on just because, let me just say to you, Jack, you, like I told you in private, you've got talent. You're good at this. I think you're going to take this show to new heights. And, people wonder, like, why am I leaving the show? And, I've thought about this a lot. I think more than anything, part of it's the age difference because I'm 65 and I'm semi-retired now. I want to make my world smaller. I mean, back in 2003, when I realized that 9/11 was a total government inside job, I got very involved in politics, if you will. I've helped a lot of local candidates. I've been doing this my own radio show for 3 years, but I was subbing for Nick, who Jack, for 12 years. And when the 2015, when Trump ran, I mean, I went all out. I used to write 10-page essays on Facebook. And I just, particularly with what's going on now, I hate to say this. I feel kind of like, what is the point at this point in the big picture, like DC politics? Mm-hmm. If anything, I'll be involved locally. I kind of feel like I need to make my world smaller, spend time with my girlfriend, her daughter, and my two boys, one of who just got married. I'm expecting, Matt, I hope you're watching, a grandchild soon. So yeah, honestly, that's it. That's it. I just kind of want to step away from the whole political thing because honestly, for my health, this shit, it'll drive you nuts. It will. As you guys know, man, the stuff that's going on today, just the news today with all this Epstein stuff. I mean, it drives me crazy and I need to step away from it. I've kind of stepped away from X a little bit. I post on there every now and then, but I'm a happier person when I'm not involved in the daily grind of political commentary.
I completely understand, man. And I want to say that, I've appreciated having you for the last year and a half. You're the one that got me started in this, because
I know, I'm sorry.
Before though, I was just, on X, and doing the stuff on X. But when you contacted me, to be on your radio show and everybody said, that we had great chemistry and that we should do the podcast. And I said, you're the reason that I got started in this. So, any success I have in the future, is owed to you as well. And so you're telling everybody now, I don't know how the rumor got started, but for some reason, people thought that you joined an Islamic cult in Texas. They said they thought you were Reverend Moonbeam, and I don't know how the rumor got started.
Don't know how it got started. Who could have spread that rumor?
But you're saying it's not true?
No, unfortunately, it's not true. I'm stuck at home with my two frickin' cats. Hey, but listen, I'm going to continue to do my radio show. So if you want to hear what I have to say, go to ksgf.com and look under podcast, and you'll find clarification.
And when can they listen to it live?
Yeah, well, it's broadcast live at 8 a.m. every Saturday. But no, the podcasts are all up there. You can listen to previous episodes. ksgf.com, go to podcast, and you'll find all the episodes are there.
Yep, and you can watch
it's better to listen to the podcast, because if you listen live, you're going to get all the commercials. They post the podcast without ads, so it's pretty cool. Yeah,
that is true.
As a matter of fact, I got a guy on tomorrow who just wrote a book about giants in the Ozarks. So,
that'll be interesting, because that's some interesting stuff from history right there. I like
that.
Yeah,
and honestly, that show, I'm really focusing more on the esoteric, paranormal, mysteries, ancient history, which doesn't get my blood boiling as much.
I completely, but I want to thank you though, because you plucked me from relative obscurity, even though, I had followers back then. It wasn't like it is now. And we didn't have, we've had, Dinesh D'Souza, Laverne Spicer, a bunch of congressmen. We've gotten pretty big to where we are now. And that would not have happened, had we not met. So I want you to know I appreciate that. And everybody's going to miss you. Look, comments, you got, Deborah, she's a super fan, she obviously.
Yeah, I know. She's awesome. You guys know you can reach me on X, and Jack, you and I will obviously stay in touch. We always do. And Jay, I wish you the best. I hope you keep this guy on, Jack. He seems like a good egg and seems like a good fit for the show. You guys will do well. And you know what? Every now and then when you want me to pop in and talk about something, I'd be happy to.
So listen, thank you for those words, first of all, James. And when kind of thing. And this is I do spaces on X, and every weeknight, and I do a video I put out. It's a full-time gig. Like literally it takes a lot of time, and I can't blame you. And honestly, to stay local and be involved local in politics, more important even than I think national when you get down to brass tacks.
I agree with you, because you can actually make changes. It's nothing that we say on here that's going to affect Trump's decision making, despite what Jack thinks. But
no.
He's convinced Trump listens to Secret America.
I swear to you, because Roger Stone is his top. Oh yeah, no, we're gonna talk
Jay.
Roger Stone.
No, I want to hear this.
Yeah, Roger Stone is his top advisor. He loves our show. He loves our show, James. He said as much. And now I will tell you, every single time we talk about something big, later that week, has Trump not done what we talked about? Honestly, in all honesty.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, James, I'll tell you that. I will tell you this, James. There are times, say, when you're in a space and there are things going on in real time. I'm not saying Trump is listening, but there are people, staffers, they listen to this stuff.
Oh, I know.
They do want to know what the electorate.
Right. Well, I was shocked when Roger Stone tweeted, "I love this show." Whoa, that was huge for us.
Yeah, that really was awesome.
I had no idea. And you're right, Jay. You never know who's listening. Well, on that note, I'm going to say farewell. Love you guys in the comments. Deborah, Raina, all you people, you're great. I'm going to get out of here and go feed the cats, and I'll listen to the show later.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on, James. Right. And we're definitely going to have you on again.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, brother. Just let me know.
All right, you have a good night.
See you later. Bye.
Thanks, James.
Thanks.
All right, so yeah, that was James Clary. He is, now that is over, he is the former co-host of Secret America, and we have a potential new co-host right here with Jay Gatling. So I want everybody in the chat, after the show, not during, but after the show, let me know what you think about him. If you don't like him, we'll drop him in a heartbeat. Okay, so just let me know what you think. Okay.
Wow. But, now the pressure's really on.
Yeah, we got to have the pressure. But see, luckily, with you being a good-looking guy in good shape, that's going to help a lot. James was good-looking too. That's why it helped a lot. So it looks matter on Secret America. You hear me? That's what matters.
Right. We are shallow here, and we're not afraid to admit it.
Exactly. We do not judge by the content of your character here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start the show, Jay, with the first thing that I've absolutely got to talk about, though, is this whole Thomas Crooks thing. about, I mean, you've heard about how, there's new stuff coming about how he is actually, involved with furries, and he was a big, trans supporter. I'm going to let you talk more about that. But how about also about the fact that you got Kash Patel saying, and this is his exact words, were that Thomas Crooks planned and conducted the attack on President Trump alone. I don't think there's one person on earth that actually believes that other than Kash Patel. So tell me what you think, Jay. I want to know.
All right. Well, I'll start off by saying this. I am still a fan of Kash Patel.
You're one of you.
Ahead, and I'll say why. Here's why. I'll just say that first. This is the guy we wanted. This is the guy that we did want. We were actually shocked that he got confirmed, right? We said, oh man, let's get Kash in there. And then all of a sudden you're hearing Dan Bongino. So we're like, we got a dream team of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. So I'm still not ready to cut bait with Kash Patel because listen, once you get into the position, things aren't the same as when you thought what you thought the position was going to be, if you know what I'm saying, Jack. So,
I know what you're saying.
Right. So I still want to give him the leeway to do his job, to run these investigations, including the one with Charlie Kirk, which I still want him to. I want the investigation to carry on, and I want to see what happens in court with all that. Now, do I think Thomas Crooks planned this all by himself? Probably not. Could something come out in the future? Maybe.
You're saying you're the person you're a fan of is lying to you. Is that what you're telling me?
Maybe he's lying by omission, like Paul Abate did.
There you go. Okay. I'll take that.
Maybe he's just not telling us the whole truth yet. We'll see. We'll see. Because this whole thing from jump, as you know, has been, let's just call it what it is. We've been, because it was under the Biden regime, a disaster. Because Paul Abate in Congress basically framed this as, he's looks like this guy's right wing, and left that out there for, the Democrats and the mainstream media to chew on and to run the narrative. And meanwhile, the whole time, it looks like Paul Abate knew that was the furthest thing from the truth, which we all knew right away, that somebody who's quote unquote MAGA or America First, or even on the right, the normal right, wasn't going to take shots at President Trump, right? We knew this. But how they tried to shift it. They didn't want the Joe Biden, let's put a bullseye. They didn't want that whole narrative to fly, because it would have if we actually, the FBI came out and said, we know this guy. He's definitely on the left. And the reason we know that now is because apparently Crooks, and I hate saying these people's names, Jack, but we'll say it. I just don't. I think they should be unnamed nobodies who did a horrible thing and should pay a price, right? But but we'll just leave it. We'll say Crooks, what he did he started out as a Trump supporter apparently, but then he flipped. He flipped in 2020.
Really?
And it looks like he flipped around the impeachment. He didn't like the way President Trump handled the impeachment. He said it was stupidity. By February, he was calling President Trump a racist, and his supporters were a cult of sheep. By April, he bashed President Trump's COVID response, said it was too slow. And then after that, he kind of went dark, right? And then that was it. But then, he came out then in August. In my opinion, the only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building, track down any important people, politicians, military leaders, and try to assassinate them. This stuff was never spoken about by Abate, ever, in front of Congress. He admired mass violence, researched explosive, researched mass shooters. He had another account, a Gab account. Jack, I've never even heard of that. I got to be honest.
Gab?
But a Gab, G-A-B.
Wow. Yeah, I've not heard of that either. There's so many social media sites that I have no idea what they are.
No clue. Maybe I'm old. I don't know. So whatever. But in this one, his name, if I'm reading this correctly, was Epic Microwave or whatever. And yeah, on that one, he showed pro-Biden with the lockdown, pro-Biden immigration in early 2021. Directly opposing, because Abate said that he was more anti-immigration in his testimony. So that totally contradicts what he said in front of Congress, right? So he's following more of the Biden doctrine, which is open borders, right? And this stuff wasn't like hidden, Jack. This stuff could have been found.
what do you think happened? What changed his perception in 2020? Now, there's a lot. I mean, things like MK Ultra still go on. There's a lot of experiments like that still go on. And I personally, a lot of these things where you see like a Thomas Crooks go up on a roof and pretend to shoot or something, they're actually what you call training sessions. They tell these people that they're training sessions, for like a Secret Service or things like that. But then they kill them and blame them. That's how they do with like a patsy. They've done those sorts of things before. It's like they're not false flag. Yeah, they are false flags. They're not hoaxes. They're false flags. But they use people like that. They tell them, look, we need to make sure that nobody can get to President Trump. So I want you to go up on this roof, hold a rifle, lay down, and we're gonna put our people where they can see you laying in case somebody else tries to do that. Then they kill him and blame it on him that this happened. Things like that happen all the time. So, I mean, I just don't know. What do you think changed his perception? If he was a Trump supporter before 2020, I don't think how he handled an impeachment is enough to change people's perception about, this is so polarizing, Trump versus the left. There's just no way that changes somebody's perception.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's something that, what, if they close this investigation, that's the part that needs to be reopened, in my opinion. Find out what changed this person. That we need to find out. Who changed this person? Who was he talking to? Was he Jack, maybe he was talking to somebody that they don't want us to find out who it was.
Did you know his shooting range practice was also the same place where the FBI did theirs? Where he did his shooting range practice, where the range that he went to, same place that the FBI frequented. And in fact, he was there within 24 hours of an FBI training session. That's in the logs. That is a fact.
Yeah, and that's concerning. It seems to be too much of a coincidence kind of thing, right? Like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah. And then they watched his crime scene right after the crime scene.
Yep. And I don't like what happened with that crime scene. It was washed down. Listen, and that's the problem with the FBI is we've been lied to so badly for so long with the FBI that when Kash Patel comes in, we have him and we think he's the right guy. And Dan Bongino, Dan Bongino is an ex-New York City cop, just like me. The fact to have a New York City cop that's number 2 of the FBI's deputy director is amazing. It's like you say, wow, we have a real cop there. He's not a lawyer. He's not a politician. That's a police officer you got up there. And at the top of the premier, supposed to be law enforcement investigative agency on the planet.
Yeah.
So when you talk about what changed this kid, that I think is what needs to be found out. All the other stuff we could talk about till the cows come home. But if you're saying this person supported Donald Trump and then all of a sudden goes to the point where he wants to assassinate him, it's not just that he's at a protest dressing up in an inflatable and, bit pissed off about ICE. He's trying to kill him.
Yeah.
What changed him to do that?
And then you got the fact that, he tried to do that. But then you've got the fact that you've got all these people like Dan Bongino, like Kash Patel, and even Andrew Bailey, who was moved from Attorney General of Missouri to a co-deputy director of the FBI. That was the move that's happening. These people are crusaders. Actual crusaders that wanted to do good. They go in there and then it's radio silence. I'm not talking about them talking. I'm talking about what they do. It is complete silence. They do nothing major. There has still been no major arrest. Donald Trump himself shared a Truth Social post yesterday that had Chris Farley screaming into Pam Bondi's ear, for the love of God, arrest somebody.
Yes. I saw that.
That's how bad it's gotten. It was hilarious, I must say.
Oh, it was hilarious. And I saw that this morning as soon as it came out. I have President Trump's truths on my phone, and a lot of times I'll get lucky. And there might be, once I snapshot it, there might be about 13 retruths. I get it right away. And when I saw that one, I said, oh my God, he is sending Chris Farley memes to Pam Bondi. Listen, and I'm getting sick and tired of President Trump. When they have a press conference or they're in the room with everybody around the table. Oh, yeah. And I'm tired of him having to say, look into that, Pam. I think we should look into that, Todd. Todd Blanche. Why does the president have to tell Pam Bondi to look into something? What
about him not fighting for Matt Gaetz and then immediately accepting Pam Bondi? You see, everybody thinks that because Trump is this person that is a crusader, even when he got in office, that he can't be He can't be tamed. He can't be blackmailed. He can't be pushed to do something. He got rid of Matt Gaetz like that. Now, he already knew these things about Matt Gaetz before he nominated him. Believe me, they do checks on these people before they nominate him. But then he immediately dropped him, brought in Pam Bondi, who, number one, the Democrats don't hate. When do the Democrats ever say anything bad about Pam Bondi? And then number two, she doesn't do anything. So that makes me wonder what the hell happened at this point.
All right. I have my theory on Gaetz. Would you like to hear it?
I'd love to hear it.
Okay. My theory on Gaetz is this. Gaetz was given an off-ramp out of Congress as a favor, because that ethics report was going to come out, whether it's credible, whether it's it doesn't matter. They were going to burn him with it. And we know it because of what he did with McCarthy. We know that Gaetz was a DMW. He was a dead man walking right in Congress. I think this gave him the off-ramp. Oh, we're nominating him for Attorney General. I have to quit Congress. He's in a solid red seat. No harm, no foul. He's gone. And he was also, in my opinion, Jack, he was a Trojan horse to send him into that Senate to see who were going to be still going to be the real problems for President Trump. There was no way Matt Gaetz was getting confirmed as Attorney General from jump. It was never happening. Never.
Why? When we have enough votes, for one, and two, we have he could push through anybody, because all he had to do was wait until they went out of session. And we did this before. Wait till they go out of session. He can do I forget what it's called.
The recess appointments.
Yes, thank you. A recess appointment. And then he can actually do also a temporary thing to fill the seat for like 180 days or something. And he can continue to do that. Matt Gaetz could have been the temporary Attorney General for the entire 4 years.
Well, there are things, not really. And here's the problem. Here's why we couldn't push him through. I'll give you 4 reasons. Ready?
Give me 10. I want 10 reasons.
Okay. I'm going to try to give you 4.
Okay.
And their names are Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins,
yes,
and Tom Tillis. There you go. Now we know there's even more.
Tom Tillis, yeah.
Yeah, North Carolina.
Yeah, I know. I live in North Carolina. I know all about Tom Tillis.
Okay. And he's done. So there are plenty of reasons right there why Matt Gaetz never would have got through. He wasn't, as we know, going to get 1 Democrat vote. Pam Bondi barely snuck through. Now, I'm thinking President Trump, we always know he tries to think ahead. I think he knew Gaetz didn't have a chance. I think he wanted to give Gaetz the nice off-ramp out of Congress, which he got him.
That's nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe Pam Bondi was going to be his choice, but now it looks to this. Here's the thing. They couldn't accept Gaetz. Okay, I guess we'll accept Bondi. She's not as bad as Gaetz. And I think that might have been the mindset. And she barely got through, Jack. And she's been a huge disappointment. She's huge. She's the reason why we're in a lot of the mess we're in right now with the messaging. She's an awful messenger. Jack, she might be a great prosecutor. Maybe she's a great lawyer. She has some wins in the Supreme Court. And whether that's her or the people under her getting those wins, that's her office.
Her messaging is terrible. I know where you're going with that. Her messaging has been terrible. But the thing is, there were other candidates. Andrew Bailey would have been great. I personally lobbied for Ken Paxton to be Attorney General. We had some great, and Ken Paxton fought tooth and nail against the Biden administration the entire 4 years. Pam Bondi, what the hell did she do? I mean, Pam Bondi advocated for red flag law. You know what a red flag law is? A red flag law is where they can steal your gun if they get an anonymous complaint. Okay. Yeah. Your girlfriend who's mad at you can say that you hit her and you got a gun in the house. They'll come and take your gun. She advocated for that as Attorney General of Florida.
I think she's very much more establishment. Ken Paxton's the opposite of that. We know that.
Ken Paxton.
I don't think someone like Ken Paxton gets through. That's why. Not with the Jack. We have a problem in the Senate. I think Ken Paxton going into the Senate is a great thing. Yes. Taking out some, beating a John Cornyn and knocking him out is huge. I think Ken Paxton will serve us better in the Senate. But the part of the problem in the Senate, we don't have the horses yet. We might have the numbers technically. We got 53. We should have about 57. We have 53, but we don't have 53, if you know what I mean. We probably have 46, 45, maybe. And when it comes down to it, do you trust Mike Rounds? Do you trust John Thune? Lindsey Graham. I mean, geez, Lindsey Graham
get me
seems to be
started on
voting
John
more with
Thune.
President Trump. No, of course not, John Thune.
How the hell did he get the majority? I mean, how the hell did he get to be like the House Speaker for the Senate? How the hell
he's
is
the
that?
Senate leader? Well, I'll tell you how. He was Mitch McConnell's boy. He was number 2. And Jack, you know how the Senate works? It still works this way. The Senate still works. It's your turn. It was John Thune's turn, period. The Senate still works like this establishment machine where it was John Thune's turn. Mitch McConnell gave him the blessing, and that's who it was going to be. End of story. Jack, look who was next in line. It was John Cornyn who came in 3rd, I think. Oh, that's true.
God. The 2 Johns that looked exactly the same. It's really, you know, we could go on about this all day, but I want to switch gears for a second. I want to talk about the Islamic takeover of America. And I know people have heard about different things, but let me tell you some of the things that happened this past week, over the weekend, that people may not know about. One, you've got the Paterson, New Jersey mayor. He did a celebration where they did a street name change. They changed Main Street, has now been changed to Palestine Way. He said that Paterson, New Jersey is the capital of Palestine in the United States. Let me give you something else, okay? Yesterday or the day before was World Hijab Day. The New York Police Department actually put on a little show and a little thing of how to put on a hijab properly, how to wear it properly. They even said we're looking forward to seeing another 100,000 ladies wearing hijabs in the near future. Exact words from the NYPD. Let me give you a little bit more. There was 48, count them, 48 Islamic mosques that were put in Texas, that have been built in Texas over the last 24 months. 48. They are taking over America, and it is crazy because so they wanted the epic city, right? They wanted to where it was a Muslim-only city. But so, you know, obviously the Civil Rights Act won't allow that. But let me tell you what they did. Here's how they're still going to have their Muslim-only city. If you want to join their neighborhood or whatever you want to call it, their community, okay, you want to buy one of those houses, you have to pay a yearly fee. And that yearly fee, 90% of it goes to the mosque. If your yearly fee is $5,000, okay, and 90% of that goes to the mosque, are you going to want to live in that house if you don't believe in Islam? No. So they're going to have a whole Islamic community that way because that's not illegal. You want to hear something really crazy? Sharia law courts. There are Sharia law courts in Texas right now. Now, are they enforceable by law? No. But let me tell you something. Whoever participates in these Sharia law courts, they are Muslims and Islamics who adhere to Sharia law. They are in that community. So they will abide by whatever the ruling is. So is it legally binding? No. But is it binding in the Muslim community? You better believe it. So I can tell you that if you're in a Muslim community, those Sharia law courts are just as powerful as a government court. They are taking over America. We do not want to end up like the UK, Jay. We cannot.
Yeah, and what they did here, see, Texas, not by accident, obviously. We always thought it was turned Texas blue. Looks like it's turned Texas green.
Yeah.
So what we have going on here, and I think the way to fight this, Jack, isn't through Sharia law. It's Article 4, Jack. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Yeah. This isn't allowed here. This is the argument.
That's the thing, though. It's not allowed here, but it's not a court that's legally binding. So they can do it. And the thing is, though, the Muslims adhere to the ruling no matter what it is. Now, they're not legally binded to adhere to it, but they do it because they so believe in the Islamic teachings and stuff. They want to stay in their community. If they don't do it, they'll be exiled. They won't be thrown in prison like in a real court, but they have to adhere to Sharia law or they will be exiled from the only community they know. So those Sharia law courts, you better believe, in those Muslim communities in Texas, they are just as powerful as the government courts.
Well, what's going to have to happen is this. We're going to have somebody with the stomach to say, listen, you're a naturalized citizen. You weren't born here and you're doing this stuff. You're out of here. You're out. That's what we're going to have somebody have the stomach to do, Jack, period.
Italy.
Because this is against our Constitution. It can't coexist, period, end of story. And it's not a First Amendment issue. This is a law. The Constitution is the superior law of the land, the supreme law of the land, and you're violating it, and you have to go. Just like they did with that kid up in Colombia, Khalil. Same thing. You're a naturalized. No, we're revoking this. You're gone. Out. You can't listen. Jack, non-assimilators must go.
No,
Period.
no,
I
you're
don't care
absolutely
where
right.
you're from, Jack. I don't care if you came from Iceland and you want to take some Viking, whatever, traditions over here and start, like, I don't know, doing some crazy stuff with axes. And if you want to do, you're out too. That's my point. You assimilate to this country. You assimilate to the culture. No one's telling you what religion to practice, but you're not going to do this stuff that is against our law. Period.
But let me tell you,
culture. Period.
Let me tell you
out.
the reason that they're, how they started, you know why they're able to do this and why we won't step and do that kind of thing. It's all about the media propaganda. That's why they made the illegals their darlings. They're, everybody's human. That's why they made the white guilt. And that's why they say black people are oppressed. It all comes back because what they think they can do. Let me tell you what they think they can do. They think Islam can take over America, tear down the Constitution, and then they can rule over the Islamic people. They think that they're smarter than the Islamic people. So once they come in, take over America and tear down the Constitution, they can rule over them. They are burning their country down to rule over the ashes. That is the deep state, and it is deeper than you can possibly imagine. It's deeper than Trump could possibly imagine. That's why he wasn't able to get it out last time. That's why he's not going to be able to get it out this time. Because if you are not willing to, I would say, override the courts, if you're not willing to go further than what the law really allows, then you're not going to be able to eradicate this stuff, because they do go further than the law allows. They will override the courts. If you won't do the same, if you won't fight fire with fire, Islam is now the fastest growing religion in the world. It has over 1 billion people. Imagine if 100 million of those came to America. Now, imagine if 100 million of those came to America. Now, the white culture, black culture, we have a melting pot. There's no one single culture. There's patriotism, but they're trying to eradicate that. They won't do it for the Muslims. Have you noticed, if you do something as a Christian, you will get in trouble. You could get arrested. You could get but if a Muslim does it in the name of their religion, it's okay. It's completely fine. In the UK has fallen. And that is what is happening to America right now. We're just lucky. We are lucky that we are separated by a body of water. If we were not, we would already have been taken over, Jay.
Well, I'll agree with you. I'm just writing a couple things down here because I want it. Here, I got 2 words for you. Suicidal empathy.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is.
This is what this is. And it's been like this, not just with the Muslims, with a lot of things. Suicidal empathy with immigration in general, Jack. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's what's put us in this situation with a lot of people. They're not really criminals. No. You broke the law. You're a criminal. You broke into our country. The first thing you did was break our law. You're a criminal and you need to be removed. And you can get back online, but you're going to go to the end of the line. Now, when it comes to this Muslim, this is suicidal empathy of the highest degree. Now, I agree with you. The body of water does help us. You know what else we have that they don't have? Second Amendment. So we have that too. We have the First Amendment. We do have the Bill of Rights. Now, what's going on in England, they are Jack, they're arresting people for social media posts. If Jack, we would be arrested right now in England just for this conversation we're having.
Probably. Exactly. But they're also doing it now. They're also selectively prosecuting people. Like, they'll prosecute a 9-year-old girl for pulling out a knife and an axe on a Muslim person that's walking up on them, but they won't arrest the Muslim person. Why? Because they need these people to take over. See, what you do if you want to take over a population, you have to get rid of their culture. You have to get rid of their history. You have to get rid of their sense of patriotism. If you can do those 3 things, you can really not only take over the country, but you can mold it into your own image. Okay, here's what we do. We let them come in. We let them take over the country. Then what do? We make sure we arrest and deport all of them if America decides to agree with our ideology. I want communist ideology, not capitalist ideology. So what do? I let them come in, let them take over everything. If nobody's getting them out because of suicidal empathy, I say, look, see what capitalism does? It allows these people to take over your country. If you embrace communism, we can get these people out. So they all embrace communism. We get these people out. Before you know it, America is a communist country.
It's a Jedi mind trick. You're literally pulling a Jedi mind trick.
Exactly.
I mean, again, and I saw that video with that little girl. I think was that Scotland, or was that in the UK?
Scotland.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was Scotland, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And it's really it's sickening. It's frustrating to watch. Where you say, let me tell you something, that ain't happening here. Not in front of me. That ain't happening,
No.
Jack. It's not happening. But we are we're in trouble right now when it comes to this. Listen, I see a comment about Dearborn. Dearborn, I don't know that Dearborn can vote their way out of what they're in, Jack.
No, they have majority. It's majority Muslim now, and they're right. See this is what I was talking about. Christians in Dearborn cannot hand out anything religious in public. They're right. Not only can they not do that, but Muslims can, and not only can Christians not put out the church bells. The church bells that ding, let you know it's church time. But Muslims do the prayer, the call to prayer 5 times a day in Dearborn.
They make exceptions for them, Jack. They make exceptions for them in school. You don't get do Christians get to go in school and kneel down and pray somewhere?
Hell no. You can pray wherever you want as a Muslim. You can take over schools. You can take over offices. If you're a Muslim, they're not going to touch you.
Yeah, take over streets, block traffic, do whatever. No, that's got to stop. And here's the other thing, Jack. They're outpopulating us.
That's the thing.
They're outbreeding us, Jack. That's a fact. They're outbreeding us.
But see, that's because their wives can't say no. The men can say, hey, I want a child. The wife can't be like, no, we can't afford that. He can literally rape her to get the child.
Oh, God.
Then he can rape the child.
That's sick. It's sick to think about. It really is. It really is sick to think about. And like I said, we're going to need somebody after President Trump with the stomach to do something about this. I don't know what the answer is, Jack. We got to think about that.
I can tell somebody's got to.
What's
They're
that?
going to have to bend some rules. They're going to have to bend some laws.
Something's going to have to happen because we are on the fast track to be, you're right, becoming a place like, I mean, this country is vastly bigger. Obviously we have, as I said, the Second Amendment, but look at what they're doing. And in Texas, that's not by accident at all. That is on purpose. That is a play. Because if Texas goes, Jack, we could forget ever winning the presidency again.
Oh, yeah. And that's part of it also. They know that the Muslims will vote Democrat. That is part of that. But, speaking of Democrat, I want to talk about something. Unless you'd like to talk about the Raskin thing, you want to go ahead and mention that?
Oh, no. We could continue on this for a minute. Did you want to get into Mamdani? Because speaking of what we're talking about now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. Mamdani basically has spawned a primary challenger for Hakeem Jeffries.
Really?
Yeah. So it looks like and Jack, here's how they do it. See, Mamdani came in as a New York State assemblyman. Okay. He, he was in the country at that point, probably about 3 or 4 years. Okay. Obviously, so just like Ilhan Omar was brought here for a purpose, he was probably brought here for a purpose.
Like
they
Obama,
knew, right. They knew he could play the role. Right. And he can play the role. And he was then put in. What he did when he won New York State Assembly, he knocked out an incumbent. And it just so happens to be in the area where I was a police officer in the NYPD. So I know the area where Mamdani became a councilman, an assemblyman. And it's a heavily Greek area. Mamdani knocked out an incumbent who was Greek. Okay, number one.
Yeah.
Now, next thing you know, a few years later, he's running for mayor of the biggest city in the United States, the financial capital of arguably the world, and he wins. Okay. Yeah. So these DSAs have been around. The Democrat Socialists of America have been around for a while. They've been, being planted here and there. We have another one that just won the mayorship in Seattle because the votes were being counted for about a week and a half after the election until she finally had enough votes.
Another
to win,
socialist. Right? Yep.
Correct. Another one who's never had a job in her life. Now, all of a sudden now, and here's how this starts. We have another DSA, and this one is a Brooklyn councilman. Like I said, they put them in these positions, and now all of a sudden, Hakeem Jeffries, and now the House Minority Leader in the United States House of Representatives for the Democrat Party, is looking at a primary challenge from a openly queer Democrat socialist and an ally of Mamdani. Now,
and that checks all the boxes.
Right, exactly. So he
that
says
checks all of them.
And here's the line, Jack. He says he's running because many Democrats are upset with leadership. Now, Mamdani has, quote unquote, asked him not to run. Now, he might just be doing that publicly, but you could be sure that the machine that was behind Mamdani is going to be behind this guy if he shows that he's got the chops. And let me put it this way. He wouldn't have been even mentioned if they didn't think he had the chops. So this is about to get interesting to see if we have a DSA now running to take out Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. And it's funny you mention Hakeem Jeffries because something interesting came out recently, and it has to do with his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. All the stuff that people have been talking about with Jeffrey Epstein lately, people didn't notice that there was something that came out. It's funny because it was in 2013, right? And this is back when Hakeem. Okay, so it's a newly revealed email. And it shows the Democrat funding group, Dynamic SRG, contacted Jeffrey Epstein in 2013 to promote then freshman Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. This email called him Brooklyn's Barack, and they were urging Epstein to support a Democratic fundraising push. So that if you can put that together, Epstein basically funded Hakeem Jeffries' rise to where he is now.
And let me tell you something. That was a miscalculation because as much as I don't like Barack Obama, Hakeem Jeffries is not even in the same stratosphere as a politician. Not even close. As I said, I can't stand Barack Obama. I think Barack Obama is the reason why we are where we are in so many aspects right now,
especially race relations.
100% with the law enforcement, with the race, everything. He divided this country, and it was by design. He did it expertly. And like I said, Hakeem Jeffries, they call him the Timu Obama. He's not. He can't shine Obama's shoes when it comes to being a politician. He really can't. And that's why and we're seeing the evidence right now, Jack. That's why we have somebody who nobody's ever heard of, who's probably going to have a decent chance of primarying him and winning.
Oh, no,
because he's not Barack Obama.
You're absolutely right. Before we can continue, I've got to talk about something that's been on my mind, and it's pissing me off a lot. Just thinking about it, reading about it is pissing me off, and it's gonna be something that's hard to hear. Okay, so apparently there was a 9-year-old black child who tried to kill and did rape a 5-year-old black child in Cleveland, and was sentenced to house arrest. And apparently there was also a 10-year-old black child that helped this 9-year-old rape and try to kill this 5-year-old child, left her in a field naked for hours. Okay. Wow. And what happened? This judge didn't sentence, but pre-trial released this child to house arrest. And if you ask me, the home is the reason. This is learned behavior. As a 9-year-old, you don't have a compulsion to rape. That's just not what you do. It's learned behavior, and it had to have been learned somewhere within the culture of the home. But you house arrest this person, sentence them, or have them at their home. This person, this 9-year-old, is charged with rape, attempted murder. And I mean, it's just the thing is, what really bothers me is our criminal justice system, because it is broken, and we don't. Not only do we let black people pretty much do whatever they want at this point, because propaganda has told everybody that they're oppressed and white people are the problem. Anti-white racism is at an all-time high. But this kind of stuff really bothers me because it just underscores the problems that we have. What should be happening here is he should be held pre-trial and given treatment. Okay, treatment. And then he should be punished. If you're a child, I don't care if you're a 3-year-old, if you attempt to murder and rape somebody, you got to be punished accordingly. You can't be held in a youth facility for 3 years and then released. Okay, because that is if you're going to do it as a 9-year-old, I can guarantee you're going to do it as an adult, because what you do as a child has a huge effect on your psyche as an adult. And this really bothered me.
That's a very, very disturbing story. It's sickening. I don't know how a 9-year-old, even like you said, thinks of something like that, even knows what that is.
And of course, it was Cleveland.
Right. Oh God. It's disgusting. And like you said, wait a minute, house arrest. That's what the problem is. He needs to get out of whatever house he was in. And like you said, needs serious treatment. Jack, this is Michael Myers type stuff we're talking about here.
Yeah, horrible.
And they didn't want, Dr.
It's like an origin story for a villain. Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Loomis didn't want Michael Myers to ever get out of his confinement in his mental institution. And look what happened when he did, right? Of course, it's just a movie, but we're dealing with that type of a psychopath here at 9 years old. And this person, like you said, this child needs a lot of help and probably needs to be kept confined for a long time, if not forever, because, and I hate saying something like that, but how does a 9-year-old, it's worse than murder when it comes to
rape is worse because they have to live with that for the rest of their life. With murder, it's over. Their problems are over. But with rape, their problems are just beginning.
And I think the act itself is more depraved than a murder in a lot of ways, Jack.
Oh, yeah.
So for a 9-year-old to do this, and then for another child to help, there's a lot of problems there. And again, we need to learn what was going on here. What happened? So you know what? We need to find the signals. What's happening? What are the warning signs? This can't happen again. We need to stop stuff like this. So sending the child back to the house is and again, you said it, the judicial system, the decisions we see made. We saw it in North Carolina, in Charlotte, when Irina Zaruska got, murdered on that train by somebody that was put out by a magistrate who never should have been back on the streets. They're a career criminal. They never should be released. What's going on with judges in this country from low to highest level is really, really a problem. And you know what? We deserve better, Jack. We deserve better as a citizenry. And the fact is, a lot of these judges that are doing this, they need to start worrying about consequences. They need to start paying with their freedom when they make decisions that put the citizenry in harm's way. Because I'll tell you now, when I was a police officer, I had to make split-second decisions. And I was held accountable for split-second decisions that might have went wrong. And not just civilly, criminally, police officer held civilly and criminally responsible for split seconds decisions that might go wrong. And we have judges, we have prosecutors that aren't making split second decisions. They have months sometimes to make these decisions, Jack, and they still get them wrong. And what happens to them? Nothing.
No, the process to get them out is just too long and arduous. It's too bureaucratic. It's a long process, and it involves impeachments and hearings and this and that. It's too much. So the thing is, I used to say that accountability is the reason America is the way it is because there's no accountability. But actually, the reason that there's no accountability is because the number one reason why America is the way it is. Suicidal empathy is the reason that there is no accountability. So those two go hand in hand. Suicidal empathy causes the no accountability. And that's why we get the things that we have now. So there was I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. There is a 15-year-old child who was arrested in Charlotte. And guess what? They have been arrested 108 times before the age of 15. 108 times before the age of 15. They had 49 break-in arrests, 35 vehicles theft arrests, all before the age of 15, but they were let out every single time because of suicidal empathy. So the thing is that we have got to institute ways to root out judges that don't hold people accountable, because it's the judge's suicidal empathy that is giving the criminals no accountability. And that is what is causing the problems in America today. That is also what is allowing the Islamic takeover. And all of our problems come down to the suicidal empathy. That's the reason we're not pushing Islam and Muslims out. That's the reason we're not deporting people fast enough. That's the reason that criminals are released with no cash bail. That's the reason there's anti-white racism and white guilt, because they believe they're oppressed. Suicidal empathy and the propaganda that goes with it is destroying America. And let me tell you, Thomas Massey is got an act right now, a bill in Congress that he's trying to get passed, and it is to repeal the modernization of the Smith-Mundt Act. And let me tell you why. Obama signed a law that was a modernization of the Smith-Mundt Act. The Smith-Mundt Act made it illegal to use propaganda in domestic terms. You could not use propaganda in America. They could not lie. Government could not tell the media to lie, and the media could not lie. But he amended that to make it to where you can use it domestically. And now Thomas Massey is trying to repeal that so we can go back to where, the lies were at least a lot less brazen, and where the government didn't tell them to lie and do the things that they're doing now. Because it all, and let me tell you right now, Jay, it all starts with the media. Because the media, the mainstream media, even though they're becoming irrelevant, they still control half of the United States, okay?
Correct.
And that half of the United States are the people that they are giving this suicidal empathy, causing to have this suicidal empathy. They are the judges. They are the prosecutors. They are all the left people in these elected positions. They are the Secretary of States, the governors. They are all of these people that have this suicidal empathy. So they're allowing the black people to steal or murder. They're allowing the Muslims to build mosques and do whatever they want, the calls to prayer, and arresting Christians because they don't have any suicidal empathy for Christians. Oh no, they have it for Muslims and black people, but not white Christians. Why? Because the media is anti-white racism. It's all about it. So the media is where it all begins. That is the choke point, Jay.
Listen, I have a solution to stop race from being an issue in this country. You know how? Stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. Like Morgan Freeman did. Remember Morgan Freeman with Mike Wallace? He said, I know how to solve it. I'm Morgan Freeman. I don't refer to you as a white man, Mike Wallace. I'm just Morgan Freeman. I'm an American. That's it.
But
now,
the media
you and I
can half of America, though.
That's the point.
And they will talk about it.
This is a cottage industry. That's the problem. You know why? It makes money. Race makes money. It makes these people a fortune. Why do you think they did this all with Michael Brown? Remember, hands up, don't shoot. A lie from jump. Right.
Huge
lie. Flat out lie. Flat out lie. Then you had in the other one. Oh, geez, it's escaping me right now.
George Floyd. There's many.
George Floyd. Okay, with George Floyd. Again, you could talk about a lot of things with George Floyd, but you know what was never brought up at trial with George Floyd? Because it didn't have anything to do with race. Because it didn't have anything to do with it. There was never race brought into the actual trial of Derek Chauvin because it had nothing to do with it. But what did the media make it about, Jack? Race.
The race.
They made it about race.
If the media can make it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. They made Eric Garner in New York City about race. It's always. And listen, Jack, I was a cop for 25 and a half years. I answered a lot of calls. You know what question I never asked once and never heard another cop ask? What race is the person that this call is for? Not one time, Jack. Not once.
That was back before the propaganda was allowed domestically.
we never did, and no cop will ever do it. We just respond to the call because it doesn't matter. We are going. That's our job. Okay. So what the media does, like you said, is they're the ones that propagate it because it makes money. People want to watch this stuff. They don't want a place like, Jack, they want they want fiery but peaceful. They don't want peaceful. They want fiery but peaceful.
They want mostly peaceful.
Yeah, fiery but mostly peaceful because that way people aren't just going to watch. They want to watch the fire in the background on TV. They don't just want to watch a reporter in front of a kumbaya session. No, of course not. So they stoke this because it makes money. Al Sharpton's been doing it for his whole career because it makes money. And there will be people, Ben Crump, there will be people that come behind these guys who are aging out to. We're seeing it already with the Carmelo Anthony case in Texas, right? They're making that into a race issue, and we don't even know that race had anything to do with it.
Oh, yeah. He killed that white man because he was
but we don't know. But no, but they're turning it the other way.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
You
he killed him because, he was oppressed by him or something.
Right. So this all has to stop. And we have to speak out about it. Say, hey, stop talking about race. You're an American. I'm an American. If you're not an American, then you better come here legally. It's real simple, Jack. This isn't rocket science. We're not trying to split the atom here. We could really solve a lot of these problems very simply, but they won't let us. They won't let us because they don't want us to be united. Even if we don't agree on everything, we could still be united as Americans. We are not, and they don't want us to be. That will cost them money.
Oh, not only will it cost them money, but see, now that the government can request, that they use propaganda, they can't tell them, but now that they can request it, right? What can they do? So what they do is they request them to do the whole suicidal empathy thing that they're doing now. It gets the media a lot of money, but it gets the government to keep us divided. And why is that important? If we're divided, we're fighting each other. We're not fighting the government. If we're united, we can watch every little thing the government does. So they can't get away with anything. But if we're fighting each other, they can slip shit in through the back door. They can do the most horrible things, and we'll still be fighting each other. But let me tell you, no matter what happens, the media still controls half of the country at this point. The media, and they control mostly the old people. And let me tell you why. Dinesh D'Souza told me this, and it's absolutely true. All of those No Kings protests, they were all old people. You saw that, 60s, 70s. And why? Let me tell you, the media controls them because back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, the media were the quote unquote champions of the people. They were the quote unquote champions of truth. So what are they doing? They're trading on that reputation now to lie to these people. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people are waking up, but there's still so many of the older people that believe whatever they say because they used to be, the champions of the people, if you will. So they're trading on that reputation, and the reputation is going down and down, but it doesn't matter because they still control all of these older people, and they control half of the country, the left. And whatever they do, whatever they say, the left will do. That's why you see all these people like the judges releasing people after 100 arrests. It's because the media, that they are, like I said, they are the starting point. They are causing everybody's problems because they are the ones that control the propaganda. And then the propaganda is what gets everybody fired up to do this or that. If they say, oh, Trump did this, everybody's going to be protesting out here tomorrow. Everybody's going to show up because the media said that. If they say, oh, Trump raped E. Jean Carroll, even though she looks like a gremlin, and he can get hot people like Melania, yet he supposedly raped some gremlin in the 90s, they're going to believe that because the media told them that. They are controlled by CNN, MSNBC, and as long as the Smith-Mundt Act is modernized the way Barack Obama did, it is going to stay that way, and that's why Thomas Massey's trying to get this bill through, and it is absolutely crushing us right now. The media, they have got so many people brainwashed right now. It's causing so many difficulties. That suicidal empathy is where everything starts. It's where everything starts.
Yeah, listen, you're right about those older people. And back in the day, they were listening to Walter Cronkite, Tom Brokaw, Dan Rather, and Peter Jennings.
Yep.
And then Bernard Shaw on CNN. But now, at the very least, at least we have you and I right here. We're talking, right? People listening to us.
We are the media now.
We hope so, right? We hope we are, and we need to be.
For 50% of America. That's why I said 50% of America, even though I'm going to try to get some leftist people as guests, they probably won't come.
Well, listen, people need to start to listen. Like, let's use John Fetterman for an example. Okay, let's use him.
I like him.
Okay, and he'll probably He'll probably vote against stuff that we want, Jack, 90% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
90% of the time he'll vote against us, but at least he's having a conversation. At least he's not telling us, you're a racist, you're a Nazi, you're this because why? Wait, because I disagree with you because I want a border wall. What?
No, that stroke gave him common sense, man.
I'm telling you, the person with, I hope he's okay. He fell down. Apparently, he had a little bit of a heart issue.
I was talking, months ago when he had that stroke. He came out of that as a different person.
Correct. He really did. And like I said, he just had a fall because he had a heart. I hope he's okay. I hope he makes a full recovery. And that's also the difference between us and the other side. See, I don't wish ill on John Fetterman because he disagrees with me.
And they do. They've wanted him to. They've asked him to die. They said, "Oh, too bad you didn't die when you fell."
That is correct. And he actually came out and said, part of the issue is, he said, when somebody asked him, where is the real radical rhetoric coming from? And he said, blue sky. That's where it's coming from. He said, they hate me. They want, like you said, they want me to die. They're calling for me to die because, I'm not all in on this craziness. I'm actually having a conversation. I don't think it's a good idea to shut down the government. I don't think it's a good idea to, let however you feel about it, to let Israel get taken over by a terrorist organization. I don't agree with that. And I should die because of that. And he's like, that's coming from blue sky. It's not coming from the right. It's not coming from platforms like X. And he says that. Now, Thomas Massey. Am I a fan of Thomas Massey? I am not a fan of Thomas Massey. But this legislation, if it's good legislation, again, that's the difference between us and them. If somebody that I don't agree with a lot comes out with a good piece of legislation, I'm saying, hey, good for you. Good job. Go ahead. Get that through. I think that works. That's how I am, Jack. I'm pragmatic. I'm not going to be somebody like this ideologue because Thomas Massey is against President Trump, and I think he is. In fact, I pretty much know he is, but that's fine. But if he comes out with a good piece of legislation that I think makes sense, I'm in. And this seems like it makes sense because you're right. The media is flat out lying to us. And they do it, Jack. They do it unashamed at this point. They know they're lying to you. They know they're lying to you and me, Jack. They know we know we're on. They know that we're onto them. But like you said, they still have a large chunk of the country still that is taking every word hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And that's why I'm surprised CNN even allows Scott Jennings on there to say his piece, because he actually has common sense. So it's shocking they even allow him on there. I want to say, I like it. But I want to say that I actually put out a post last week or something where I was hoping that we could trade politicians like we do baseball players. I would trade Lisa Murkowski, I would trade Adam Kinzinger, and I would trade Liz Cheney for John Fetterman and a politician to be named later. That is exactly the best trade I would do right there. We can take John Fetterman. They can have Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, and Lisa Murkowski. We will be very happy with John Fetterman and a politician to be named later. That would be absolutely awesome. But real quick, Jay, it's been an hour, but we got to talk about one more subject. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I know you've been wanting to talk about this. You and I are on different sides of the aisle on this, okay? So I want you to tell me first what you think about what's going on, but first frame it for everybody. What has been going on between her and Trump?
Well, what has been going on apparently is that President Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, from what I've heard, Jack, had her sights set, I believe, on the governorship of Georgia. And President Trump basically came out and told her, you're polling at like whatever percent, you're not going to win. And he wouldn't.
Wait a minute, is that true? I don't
that is what
part.
That is
Really?
what I've heard, that it was either senator or governor. I think it might have been governor, and we could double check that. Somebody will probably check us in the comments, and that's fine.
I'll check it real quick while you're talking. Go ahead.
Yeah. So President Trump didn't get on board with her with that. And I think that soured her. I think that's what soured her. There's always been a little bit of stuff with Marjorie Taylor Greene where people like, she's a little, she's a little crazy. She's a little out there. Some of the things she says a little out there, but she was on the Trump train. She was MAGA. She was America First. I mean, wearing the stuff at State of the Unions. I mean, all decked out. I mean, my God, she looked like a MAGA cheerleader. And now she has started to turn, and she has started to come out on places like CNN. And she was talking about the shutdown, and she was throwing Republican leadership under the bus, not President Trump, but Republican leadership. I have a problem with that, Jack. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene disagreeing with Mike Johnson or John Thune or Republicans. I don't. But especially during a shutdown or something like this, you don't go on CNN with Wolf Blitzer and Pamela Brown, who happens to be Tim Burchett's favorite punching bag. You don't go on there, okay? And you don't throw leadership under the bus publicly. Deal with it behind closed doors, because guess what? AOC and a lot of people that I know, Jack, who don't agree with me politically, always, when I said, well, who's the lunatic in the Republican Party who I think AOC is the lunatic, and who's the comparable one? They would say Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, they would always say, but you don't do that, Jack. And now she's come out and she's getting more and more with Democrat talking points. And I think it went on too long. And the whole thing that really ticked me, Jack, was the press conference with Massey, when they went out there with the Epstein women. Mm-hmm. And here's the problem I have with it. You don't let signs behind you say that President Trump is a pedophile. I got a problem with that. And Massey and MTG were the ones running that press conference. Without them there, that press conference, nobody's watching. Like close friends and family might watch. But Massey and MTG were the ones running that deal. And they could have very easily said, hey, listen, we're having this conference. We're with you. But we're not going to allow those signs to be behind us, accusing the president of the United States, I don't care who it is, of being a pedophile when we have absolutely zero proof of such. I had a big problem with that. And I think President Trump finally had to come out. This went on unchecked for too long. Something had to be done. Quite frankly, I'm glad he did it. And I think she's got 3 or 4 nicknames, which I think might be a record, Jack.
Well, I have to do a rebuttal here, because
go ahead.
And like Patriot Nola is saying here, she did get rich from insider trading, but so did every single person in Congress. There is not a single person in Congress that did not go in, not a millionaire, and is now a millionaire. Every single person in Congress. Jack. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, you can't single her out for insider trading. They are all doing it. But that's
She
not
is
what
good though, Jack. She is good. She is especially good at it. I'll give her that.
Oh yeah, but I just wanted to say that. Well, if you're gonna do something, you might as well do it right. Why go to jail for insider trading and only make a little money? But let's put it there. Everybody, that's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to say is, I don't like Trump's. Now I'm a huge Trump supporter. I had over 50 or 60 million impressions during the election season to get him, just on tweets that were about getting him elected. So I helped get him elected, okay? But there are things where I disagree with him. He is way, way too reactionary when it comes to shit like this, okay? Thomas Massey does a lot of good things. Maybe we disagree on some things, sure. But he is way too reactionary, way too visceral when it comes to Thomas Massey, MTG, and all these other things. She was telling the truth on some of the things she said. When she talked about the government shutdown, how prices were actually high, they weren't down. I've been to the grocery store. They are not down. No, inflation might be down, but the prices did not go down. Prices stay. Just because inflation goes down does not mean the prices go with it. It just means the prices aren't going up as fast. That's what inflation means. So let me tell you that some of the things that she said were absolutely on point. You know, people can be upset all they want, but let me tell you something that she just said. Okay, this is from her, and this is, when was this? This was yesterday morning. She said, "I stood with President Trump when almost no one else would. I campaigned for him all over this country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected." Okay, she said, "But even through this, I still support the Trump administration and want to see it succeed for the American people." I don't care what anybody says. She has been a crusader for Trump, and some of the things she says are true. People might not like to hear that, especially people that are rabid Trump fans. They don't want to hear that he could possibly be wrong. But the man is way too visceral. Look what he did to Elon Musk. Look what he did to Massey, to MTG. These are people that he would not have been elected without. Yet he goes crazy over the smallest things. He is very insecure. He is very arrogant. Okay? I like Trump. And Deborah, if you heard what I was talking about a moment ago, the millions came from insider trading, just like every single congressperson in American history. There is not a person in Congress who was not a millionaire before they got in Congress that is not a millionaire. There is not a person in Congress now that is not a millionaire. I can promise you that right now. Right. So, well, no, Kat says, "Have you ever in your life saw prices go down?" That's not what I'm talking about. Trump literally said all the prices were going down. That's why I said what I said, because the prices haven't gone down. Okay, I'm being real. I'm trying to tell. See, people get on this show. They think, oh, he's a conservative, so he's going to say everything we want to hear. That's not what I do. I tell my opinions. I'm a conservative because I have common sense, because I'm a Trump supporter, and because I love my country. But I will call out anything that I see that I don't believe in. And let me tell you right now that Marjorie Taylor Greene has been a crusader for Trump, and he is way, way too quick to cut off the fucking cords to everybody. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm like you. I will call stuff out too. I love President Trump. And you know what, Jack? I kind of have a different connection with him because as a cop, I was getting my teeth kicked in because of Barack Obama for a long time. And when President Trump came in, he was a champion for us.
No, don't try to use that cop stuff for sympathy from the chat. I'm watching you.
Hold on.
So he wants you to agree with him. So yeah, you know, Trump. I'm watching you. I'm watching you.
Yeah,
I'm calling you out.
I will disagree with him, and I have.
I'm just joking with you, man.
I know. So I will disagree, and I have. Because I do believe that everything he does, as narcissistic and, as you said, sometimes arrogant, and I believe you kind of need those two traits to be the president. I don't care who it is.
Well, psychopathic is what you need to be any politician.
It's true too, right? So, but at the same time, I always feel like he has the best interests of American citizens at heart, no matter what he does. Now, does he sometimes go a little bit far with his quote unquote, what do I say, attacks or critiques of people? Yes. But I got to be honest. I think he let Marjorie Taylor Greene, he gave her a lot of rope here. I mean, like I said, Jack, the day that she stood out there with that sign, if that's me, Jack, or if it's you, put yourself in that position too. If somebody's standing that's supposed to be an ally with that sign behind him, there's nothing worse that you could be called, Jack, than a pedophile.
Well,
Nothing.
see, now that I don't remember, but did she
there.
know that it was there? Was it there when she started the protest?
There, right?
But
Yes.
see, she
there's
can't
no
remove
way.
those kind of things. Did she put it up there?
No, but she didn't. But you know what? Like I said, they're running that show, her and Massey. Without them there, that press conference means nothing and nobody cares.
Yeah, but
and
you
they could
call
have
the
very
press
easily
conference,
said,
everybody comes in. You can't cancel it because there's some idiot with a sign
Jack,
behind you.
if it's me, I'm doing something about it. I don't want to be in front of those
can't.
signs.
It's free speech, and she's a government agent.
Then I'm
you
not
can't.
having the press conference. I'm not doing it. Then I'll see you guys
You
later.
can't do that, man. You know how many times if that happens, they do that to you every time. Then you would never have a press conference. They'd be like, okay, I know that Jay Gatling won't have a press conference if I put Trump's a pedophile behind him. They could do that to you every time.
Well, listen, I won't have a press conference where people could put that stuff behind me. That's just how I would handle it. And here's the problem. They were doing that because those people there thought they were allies of them, Massey and MTG. That's the problem. And it was a horrible look that the people there thought that they were allies. They're their allies. They're putting those signs up there saying MTG and Massey agree with this. Now, I'm not saying they do. I'm not saying they agree with that. But that's the kind of feeling it got. It was a horrible look, Jack. It's a horrible look.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
A horrible look, okay?
But do you see how quickly he is to cut
I
the
think
cord?
he gave her rope.
He burns bridges like unbelievable.
Well, listen, he's going to burn bridges, but at the end of the day, who needs more who? Who needs more? Who needs who more, I should say. Sorry, I said that
Well,
wrong.
let me tell you this. When he leaves as president, that's it. She's going to be congresswoman for the next 30 years. So it's who needs who more.
She's going to need him. And if she wants to move anywhere, he could really put a dent, and he's going to try to do it to Massey. He's going to try to do it to her.
It'll never work on Massey.
And I think with the Elon one, Jack, I think Elon really kind of was the one. I think President Trump was pretty constrained when it came to that one. Again, Elon called him a pedophile.
Is to blame, though.
What's that?
Here, it's almost as if you're framing it like everybody else is to blame on these things.
No, I just think that MTG could have handled this whole thing differently. I think it could have been handled privately. No, Massey's Massey. Massey's Massey. Yeah. I'm not blaming Massey. Massey is going to do what he's going to do. A different animal. Totally. Massey's going to do what he's going to do. I thought MTG was Massey was never this hoorah Trump guy ever. Not one time ever. We know that, right? MTG was a Trump guy. I mean, like you said, a cheerleader. Literally.
She just came out and said, I still support him, despite what the hell he's done to her and said about her.
That's a good move.
That tells you the character of somebody right there. I don't care. She could be like, you know what? Trump's a bastard. I hate him. I'm going to go to the Democrat. No, she said, I crusaded for Trump, and despite what happened, I still support him. She could have been like, F Trump. The dude's a prick. But instead,
could have.
What did he say? He was his usual knee-jerk reaction self.
Listen, first of all, the names crack me up. I don't know what they do. They crack me up. You got to admit, I always say when President Trump gives you a nickname, you've either made it big or you've done something real wrong.
Yeah.
In his eyes, right? So, but at the same time, I think she did the right thing by saying, I still support President Trump. You know what, Jack? She has to say that. She does. She has to. And be the bigger person. I think that shows character.
I've never once seen her say something she didn't have to say.
I think she needs to say it. She needs to, because she still needs to support his agenda, or else then the mask is completely off.
But let's be real. Do you know why he was pissed off? Do you know why this whole thing happened? Do you know why?
Go ahead.
Because, and this is the truth. Everybody can get mad all they want. But before today, when Trump was suddenly all about releasing the Epstein files, she said, as a big ally of Trump, that the files should be released. That's when this whole thing started. He was pissed off that she called for the release of the Epstein files. That is what happened. And now he has to say, release the Epstein files. Before, he didn't. He was all about not releasing them. Let's move on. You saw the reactions when he said, Epstein? You're still talking about Epstein? Oh, yeah. And then she said, go ahead. Yeah, she said it. And he was pissed.
Yeah. I remember. And I remember that cabinet meeting when I thought his response was not good.
Insane.
Not good. At the same time, do I really think President Trump's implicated in any serious way? And he's no, because if he was, they would have burned him down a while ago.
Yes, but the files are going to say that he is, and let me tell you why. The reason, well, they fixed the files. They changed the files to what they say, and the reason they never released them during Biden's era because everybody would have known they were fake. But now that they fake the files to make it look like he's in on it, in with Epstein and all that, now they're calling for the release of the files, because if he releases them, it says he's in on it, then people are going to say they're legitimate. That's why he hasn't wanted to release them. And when she called for the release of the files, it worried him, it scared him, and it angered him, because one of his allies is calling for the release of the files that could doom him, even though they're not real. But they would doom him because they would look real coming from him, his administration. That's what this whole thing is about.
Why wouldn't she, though, come out and say, I think they're not real, but we should release them? Why couldn't she say that?
Because she doesn't know. She doesn't have the access to the files that he does.
Does he,
Yeah, he does. As president, he has access to classified files.
Then he should release them.
Well, see, that's why
he might be setting this up, Jack, to give everybody more time to say, listen, this is a hoax. This is a hoax. He says it all the time. This is a hoax.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And when she called for the release of the files, he said, oh no, one of my allies, somebody on my side, is calling for the release of the files. She didn't call for the release of the files because she thought he was in them. She called for the release of the files to get this shit over with, so it's not talked about anymore. And so people on the Democrat aisle could get what they deserve. But she doesn't know that he was put in those files by the Democrats. That's why she called for them. He didn't sit down and say, hey, they did this to me. Please don't do this. No. Instead, she called for it. He got really pissed off, and that's why this whole thing is happening. And it's ridiculous that you get pissed off for an ally for calling for the truth.
Well,
I'm a Trump supporter. It may not sound like it, but I am a Trump supporter.
Oh, no, I know. And you're not a throw the baby out with the bathwater guy. You're not.
You're not. I mean, I'm still for the Trump administration. You kidding me? I call out ridiculousness when I see it.
And listen, release them. I want if something comes out, I'm actually, you piqued my curiosity. I really don't care about Epstein anymore because it's just been ad nauseum, and I think it's just ridiculous. Jeffrey Epstein's dead. Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail. I
don't know if he's dead. That's a whole nother ball game.
We could do a whole nother show on that.
That's a whole nother ball game.
But at the same time, get it out there, get it over with. I just don't care anymore. And you know what, Jack? Let's go back to the beginning of the show. You know who started this whole thing, this whole ball rolling, this snowball that's been coming down the mountain for the past 10 months? Who started it?
James Clary.
Pam Bondi with her awful messaging, handing out those stupid folders to the influencers who went there. And I don't blame them at all. That's not their fault. But her stupid messaging started this whole thing. If this just would have been left alone, none of this would be happening right now.
Well, you're right. One, it was the messaging. But two, do you know what it really was? The fact that what she released was things that were already public. And get this. Not only did she release files in those binders that were already public, even though they weren't supposed to be, they were public. You know what else she did? She redacted things in those released files that were not redacted in the released files of these public files. So these files were already released and not redacted, but she redacted some shit in those files that were already released and not redacted. That made it 10 times worse. I mean, getting Pam Bondi as your attorney general is one of the main reasons that everything bad is coming his way.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Her messaging, and again, she's stepped, she stuck her foot in the mouth a couple of times. She did it again after Charlie's assassination, with the free speech. Just stop talking. Just do your job. And again, don't tell us all these great things in these investigations. That's not the way this is supposed to work, Jack. You're not supposed to hear about investigations. Look at that NBA thing that dropped with the gambling and the poker, right? We had no clue that investigation was happening. And the next thing you know, you wake up and bang, you got Chauncey Billups, you got a couple of high profile people getting arrested for rigging NBA games and poker games with the mafia. And we had no clue about it. Jack, that's the way this is supposed to work. We're not supposed to hear about Charlie Kirk's investigation day by day. This is what's going on. And people, why aren't we? You're not supposed to know. The only time.
See, she also doesn't arrest anybody. She hasn't arrested any high profile people.
That's the thing. Don't talk about it. Just do your job. And like President Trump just put out with Chris Farley, arrest somebody already. Let's go. You've had 290 days, whatever it is. It doesn't take that long to build some of these indictments. Let's go.
No, and a lot of the evidence was already there. You could do exactly, and I'll tell you exactly what I wanted. I wanted them to do exactly what the Democrats did. Arrest these people, perp walk them, get the mug shot. I don't care if you can get a guilty verdict or not. I don't care if you have the evidence to get a guilty verdict or not. I want the perp walk and the mug shot. The same shit they did to them. I want the raid at 4 a.m. You know what they do instead? They say, hey, James Comey, turn yourself in within the next 30 days. Come in the back door, no mug shot, and we'll let you sign yourself out. That's what the hell they do.
Huge problem. Agreed. Huge problem. I want these people put through the process. I want to put through the process. I want them bankrupted. I want the people in their orbit that are around them that knew about what they were doing. I want them bankrupted, just like they did to everybody around President Trump and everybody on January 6th. I want these people processed. I want them bankrupted, trying to defend themselves from the boot on the neck that the federal government can be. Give them a taste of what they dealt out, because guess what? If you don't do it, they're going to do it again, Jack. The first chance they get, they're going to do it again. They did it to people on January 6th. They did it to people around President Trump. They did it to President Trump himself. I actually
reported earlier that Eric Swalwell said that when the Democrats take over the House and Senate in 2028, he is going to target the people that supported President Trump. Those were his exact words. We are going to target the people that supported President Trump. And we're about 20 minutes past time. It was a great time with you, though. That's why I wanted to keep going. We had a great, just a great back and forth. For everybody out there that's watching this show, it said we've had, about 1,300 people. Usually by the end of the week, it'll be, 20 or 30,000. So I want to make sure anybody that saw this, tell me what you think about Jay Gatling here as co-host. I personally think he did a great job. I think we have a great chemistry, and I think we're definitely gonna see him back next week, and probably for the foreseeable future, and for the not so foreseeable future. Way in the look. See, Psyop Wars said that you're based as F, which we cannot say on YouTube, or we'll get kicked off. See, thanks, there, Psyop Wars. He's actually our number one, one of our number one supporters. He donates money to our buy me a coffee thing, which helps support the show. So awesome. He is excellent. And I'm just joking, Cyborg. You don't have to worry about the being kicked off for the F word. Don't worry about it. But no, he is one of our biggest supporters. So if he likes you, that means you're stuck with us now, for the foreseeable future. So Jay, I want to thank you for coming on, and go ahead and tell people, what was your reaction? What was your interpretation? Did you enjoy it, and will you be back?
Oh God, I tell you, the time whenever you and I talk, we've done this is probably the third or fourth time, but this is the first time on the Secret America podcast. The time flies because we go back and forth, and you know what? I mean, it's a blast, and it's only going to get better if I am lucky enough to come back. I'd love to. And it's Psyop. Thank you, coming from somebody who Jack just said is a huge fan. That's a huge compliment. I really appreciate that. Honestly, it's fun doing this. I love it. We could talk all day. We could probably go another 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
And
that's what makes it so much fun. And especially with like doing it each week, it really gives you something to look forward to, because I like talking to you about this, and then everybody else likes listening to the things, and that the fact that you and I disagreed on these things, today, and that makes it makes people be able to view things from different perspectives. And Deborah, she's another one of our huge fans. She said that you did a great job as well. So there's no higher praise from Deborah. She said you're hired. So I guess that means that means you're hired. So Jay, awesome. I want to thank you for coming on here. You did a great job. And you're right, time flies. Normally the episode is over in an hour. It's been an hour and a half now almost. So
listen, I don't think it's going to be an hour anymore, Jack.
Oh, no. We might have to actually extend it to an hour and a half from now on. We'll see how it goes. Katie, I want to thank you for coming on too. It says it's your first time listening from Florida. We really appreciate it. Come back. We're here every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. You can go to secretamericalive.com, click on any one of the logos, and it'll take you to our channel where you can watch it live, where you did today. So I want to thank you for everybody for listening. I want to thank you, Jay, for coming on. Obviously you're definitely going to be back here next week. So awesome. Everybody that watched, you just got to get used to Jay Gatling, because James Clary's retired. Jay Gatling's taking over, and it's going to be a good time for the foreseeable future. So can
I just say one thing, Jack?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, as far as James, big shoes to fill. Really appreciate him. I mean, what an amazing job he did helping you build this show. And I'm just grateful to have the chance to come on board. And, hopefully take this thing even to new levels. So I think it's going to be awesome. And as far as the fact that we don't agree on everything, I think that's great too. We have a great discourse going back and forth, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to next Monday already.
Oh yeah, me too. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we are definitely going to take this, to the next level. It's going to go really far. So people, don't be surprised if in a year or two, you see us up there with Joe Rogan. Now, whenever I said that, James used to laugh, but I think it was because I don't know if he, well, I don't know. I think it's because I don't think he saw himself wanting to do that, but I know that Jay does. And I know that we're gonna, with us together, we're gonna get there. So don't you worry about that. We are gonna get there. And I want to thank everybody for listening. And I want to say that we might have some special guests coming up soon. And if anybody who knows who Mike Benz is, we've been talking to him. Hopefully, he will be a confirmed guest soon. I'm not going to say for sure, but he did say that he would like to come on. So we'll let you know how that goes. And but I just want to thank everybody for listening. Jay, I want to thank you for coming on. So for Jay Gatling, I'm Jack Danger, and you have been listening to Secret America. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Secret America with Jack Danger and James Clary.